is recent and in spite of the law and our advice. The NRM sometimes uses soft methods to solve problems, even when the people are wrong. However, when it is a matter of life and death, or the destiny of Africa is at stake, we take a decisive and uncompromising stand. This is what mistake makers have failed to understand. And to the peril of everybody, including the mistake makers themselves. When Idi Amin made the mistake of his coup in 1971, he did not realize our determination not to allow Uganda to deviate from the Pan-Africanist path that we were patiently working on. When some narrow elements of UPC in 1979-80 thought they could eliminate the broad-based coalition of the patriotic and the Pan-Africanist forces, they made a serious miscalculation to everybody's loss. When it comes to the environment, especially the wetlands and water bodies, enyanja, emigera, ebisharara, ebijinja, etc., and the natural forests, ebibira, it is a matter that is even greater than life and death. It is the threat of extinction. Why? The following reasons. The following are the reasons. Why is it that the issue of the wetlands and the natural forests is even bigger than life and death, and it is a threat of extinction? That's what I'm telling you. What are the reasons? The following are the reasons. Number one, 60% of our rainfall comes from the oceans, the Indian, the Pacific, and maybe the Atlantic. However, 40% of our rain comes from the local water and forest bodies, the natural forests, the lakes, the rivers, and the wetlands. The atmosphere is impregnated with moisture from these bodies by evaporation and transpiration. The moisture condenses in the atmosphere and comes back as rain. You want to know how crucial these sources are in rain formation? This is the question I'm putting to you. Do you want to know how crucial these local water bodies are to the rain we get? Look at two parts of your country, West Nile and Karamoja. They are more or less on the same latitude. That is between 2 degrees north and 4 degrees north. Both of them, West Nile and Karamoja. They are both on the same latitude. Latitude means the distance from the equator. However, West Nile gets 1,467.4 millimeters of rain per annum. West Nile, they are all the same distance from the equator, but West Nile gets 1,467.4 millimeters of rain, while Karamoja gets 811, almost half. They are the same distance from the equator, but Western Nile gets 1,400 and something. Karamoja gets 811 of rain per year. What causes the difference? What is the difference? The forests in Congo and the swamps of the Nile in South Sudan. This is what gives Western Nile more rain than Karamoja, although they are on the same distance from the equator, what we call latitude. That is why the Egyptians' idea of the Jonglei Canal was very dangerous because it would rapidly take away the water from the flood areas of the SADs, north of Juba. The Egyptians had an idea of building a canal to bypass the swamps of South Sudan and bypass the loop of the Nile. That would have caused a big, that means that rain would not, we will not get this rain in West Nile. It is these water sources that enable Kalangara, the swamps of South Sudan and the forests of Congo help West Nile to get more rain than Karamoja. Then we come to the water bodies of the other parts of Uganda. Enable Kalangara to get 1,676 millimeters 0.6 of rain per year. Kalangara, 1,676.6 millimeters of rain per year. Chijezi to get 1,040.7 millimeters of rain per year. The Rwenzori area to get 1,043.9 millimeters of rain per year. Mbare gets 2,213.4 millimeters a year, etc. So you can see all these areas get a lot of rain because of the local water bodies. Either Lake Victoria, or in the case of Chigezi, which is far from the lake but has the local swamps. Then Mbare, because of the Mount Elgon and the forest. Therefore, anybody to invade the lake shore, Emyejego y'Enyanja, the river, Omugera, the wetlands, Ekisharara, and the national forest, Ekibera, etc., is to work so hard to turn the whole of Uganda into a Karamoja in terms of rain. Some people, whether they know it or they don't know it, are not happy that we are getting so much rain. They would like the whole of Uganda to be like Karamoja. That's what they are working for. Bagala Uganda yonna efuke nga Karamoja. The rain which God put for us here, the rain source, they want to dry it. Rubango rwanje. Secondly, so therefore the wetlands are source of 40% of our rain. And if you remove them, the whole of Uganda will be like Karamoja at least, or at worst. I don't know which, whether at least or at worst. The experts will have to go and get the right words, or it may even be worse. Because I don't even know how Karamoja gets to the 800. I have not studied that very well. Secondly, with rain-fed agriculture, we sometimes get some erraticness of rain. Sometimes we get less quantity of rain. Therefore, to stabilize our agriculture, we must use our abundant water supply for irrigation, so that we stabilize the two rainy seasons, Katumba and Itumba. That's what we call them in Rinyankore. The one of March to May, we call it Katumba. The one of August to December, we call it Itumba. and even add more harvests using irrigation. The question then is, where will the water come from if you have dried the wetlands? Here we are talking of irrigation, irrigation, irrigation. We have now deployed solar pumps, solar water pumps. We've got a contract with an Indian boy to make solar-powered water pumps to pump water for irrigation. And we have also got a number of collective schemes. There's Mobuku already doing well, Doho doing well, some others, there's one called, the one near, in Lango area there, doing well. But we are working on more, and also even individually. Like me, if I get a solar-powered water pump, which I already have. I already have a number of them at my farm. I can push water from my dams up to a hill and irrigate my my pasture or my crops. Now we want this to be done everywhere. But now the water is from the wetlands. So if you dry the wetlands, where do you get the water from for irrigation? What sort of country is this which does not see far? Drying the wetlands is anti-agriculture. It is anti-irrigated agriculture. It is so unfair that a small number of wetland encroachers ruin the opportunities of the millions that could irrigate on the dry land. Number 3, the swamps are the natural filters of the water that goes into the lakes. Otherwise, you get silt going into the lakes, destroying the fish, and even eventually drying the lake through silting. The silting and pollution of the lakes, after removing the swamp filter, also poison our lake water for drinking and household use. It pushes up the cost of clean water for that purpose. If you were to ask the National Corporation, National Water Corporation, they will tell you that they must spend a lot of money to remove poisons from the water because of allowing removing the kakunguta, wakita kakunguta mu Luganda, removing the akajejana mu Lunyankore, akajejana, the filter. Okusengeja. Because those swamp grasses is God's kasengeja. God planted them for us, the swamps, the grass, the papyrus, they just filter. The water going into, that's why at Kiamata, I would just go to the swamp and drink with my hands. I had no problem. It was not treated, but it was filtered by God. But now we are very busy destroying. I don't know whether we are enemies of God or what. We are enemies of ourselves because God is not bad. He's in heaven there. If we destroy here, it is us, not God. God doesn't depend on water, doesn't drink. I don't think he's thirsty. It is us who need all this support. Number 4, part of the cause of flooding is swamp destruction. There was flooding here in Kampala the other day. People were crying, they lost so much. But that flooding is partly caused by this destruction of the swamp. The swamp vegetation acts as a sieve for the water, but also as a brake for the speed of the water. With the swamp grass, swamp vegetation, such as papyrus, There is a grass very common called Cyperus latifolia, the scientific name. We call it ebigugu, Nirinyankore. The fungus, the papyrus. The water is not only received, but it is also slowed down. It can't cause damage. You clear the swamp vegetation, you get water flowing quickly and massively and drying up quickly. Water destroys and then it dries up. Watch the Boise channel. There's this channel which I passed by at Boise. It is sometimes full and then dry. You can see it there at Boise. I normally pass there. Sometimes the water is full, sometimes it's dry. Because it goes quickly. God's plan was not for the water to go quickly. God's water was for the water to go slowly. And the breaks were the swamp, the grass, the vegetation. Goes slowly, 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 slowly. It doesn't. So the flooding is partly caused by destroying the swamps. Number 5, when the vegetation in the wetlands and the forests slows down the speed of the water flow, it allows the water to sink in the soil and replenish, recharge the underground water. Ensuro. Ubu mu Rwanda bazita batya? Ensuro, okay. This is the water that is going underground. In many parts of Ankole, we have those ensuro. You dig down in the valley, you see the water coming from the ground. But it started coming from the mountain or somewhere going through. When the vegetation in the wetlands and the forest slows down the speed of the water flow, it allows the water to sink in the soil and replenish, recharge the underground water, ensure. Destroying the vegetation cover in the wetlands and forest areas makes the runoff water, omutunga, omukoka, alele, flow very fast and will not have time to sink in the soil. The water will just go quickly. Go quickly, it will not have time to sink in the soil. The underground water will eventually dry up. What is all this if not a disaster? How can people work like this as if they don't know what they are doing? Number 6, there are then the natural resources of the wetlands, the papyrus, the ebigugu, Cyperus latifolia, the mudfish, eshonzi, the minava, ropes. We were making natural ropes from some of the plants in the swamp area. The catfish, I think catfish is what they call a mare or something. The bigugu are very good for mulching. This is the one we are using for mulching. We are now talking of agriculture, PDM. Where will you get the materials for mulching? Okwara. Where? The other time I had a project in Bushenyi, in the parish of Ruharo. And then I gave them support, I gave them seedlings, I gave them cows. Then they said, we need a pickup. I said, a pickup for one village. A pickup for what? I said, because we need to kusaka, we need to buy ebigugu for mulching from 30 miles away. Imagine. They have destroyed the nearby swamp where there is the ebigugu are there. They now want to have somebody to have a tender now to supply Ebugugu, Cyprium Latforia, from 30 miles away. What sort of country is this? Eh? They want a tender, somebody to win a tender for cow dung. That somebody wants it. They said, because I have a lot of cows, they should, the people in Kyotera, they said I should get a tender to supply cow dung. I said, no, I cannot make myself a Kisirani of having a tender to supply cow dung. If you want cow dung, come and take it. But more usefully, it's better each one of you has a cow. You have your own cow dung so that you manure your garden. But for the grass, for the Ebugugu, Cyprium Latforia, it's nearby. Uganda had made Uganda so well that you get a hill, then in the valley there is a swamp. Everywhere almost. A swamp, a hill, a swamp. That's how Uganda is. It's like that, like that, like that. Now, you destroy the near by swamp. You deny yourself for Ebugugu, for mulching. You deny yourself for water, for irrigation. What sort of country is this? How can we accept this? And we are all here, government, minister, member of parliament, I don't know what, as if God doesn't like. If you don't use your talents, God takes them away. This is the story in the Bible. God gives you talents, you don't use them. He says, you worthless servant, go away. That's what he says in the New Testament. How can we misuse our talents? The water for irrigation is here. The Ebugugu for mulching is here. The Eshonzi, those who want to eat Eshonzi mudfish, is here. Just nearby, every hill below, you have water, like that. Then you say, bring water. What is here, near you? God has brought it everywhere. The Ebugugu are very good for mulching, papyrus for paper making, fish for nutrition, etc. How and why should we lose all this? This is my question. These are some of the existential threats to our future that are involved in the phenomenon of invading the wetlands. Blaming NEMA as to why they allowed people to settle in the wetlands and come later to evict them is of course a good point. However, it does not exonerate the encroachers and their backers. Who does not know what a wetland is? Are you a Ugandan or are you from Europe? It is the duty of everybody to defend Uganda's survival. In any case, in the matter of the environment, we have no choice. Uganda cannot be destroyed, and we simply watch. Hence, please, all the people in the wetlands, live peacefully. You have done enough damage. We are not prosecuting you. It is an amnesty. Simply leave. We cannot compensate you for breaking the law and common sense. I wouldn't even say law, even if there was no law, common sense would tell you that don't go in the swamp. It will moreover, if we say we compensate, it will moreover be another way of encouraging that indiscipline to continue. Because if we compensate this, then the others also will come, then we compensate them. Then, so that's why we cannot compensate. There's no compensate. We have already compensated you by not prosecuting you, so you just go. That's a compensation. The second issue I would like to talk to you about, did you get those swamps before 1986? You got them or you didn't? Huh? Get them. I'm sure the swamp, the pictures of Kankwatsa, the pictures of the veterans before 1986. You have to get them and show them on another program. The second issue I would like to talk to you about is wealth creation. Right from the beginning, the NRM analyzed for you the socio-economic history of this area, the Great Lakes area. On account of no written records, we sometimes rely on the early foreign travelers that came here to see how the area was. If you take H.M. Stanley in 1887, while traveling through the Ituri area of Congo, partly populated by the Rinyoro-speaking people, he was amazed by the abundance and the productivity of the area and the people. On page 298 of his book entitled In the Darkest Africa, Volume 2, by Henry H.M. Stanley, he wrote as follows. I'm quoting. This is what Stanley wrote in 1887 when he was passing through a part of Bunyoro, which was put in Congo by the colonial borders. In quotes, a march of an hour and a half in the afternoon, apparently not far from the river, brought us to the populous district of Babusese. The banana plantations were very extensive, reminding me of Uganda, and their shades covered a multitude of huts. This was on the 5th of December, 1887. Fields of millet and sesame, plots of sweet potatoes occupied the outskirts of these plantations. And there was ample evidence around about that the land was thickly peopled and industrially cultivated. He was writing in the Old English of that time, 1887, that the area was thickly populated and industrially cultivated. This is 1887. Stanley passing through what is now Ituri, but populated by our people there, the Banyoro of that side. Later on, while traveling through the Rizi area of Ankole, on pages 371 to 372 of the same book, he wrote as follows. Crossing a narrow neck of land, descended into the basin of the Rizi. By degrees, the misty atmosphere of this region was clearing, and we could now see about 5 miles distance and the contour of the pastoral plateau of Ankori. Ankori, he wrote it as Ankori. It was not by any means at its best. It was well into the drought season. This is writing in the Old English. Drought season. Into the drought season. The dry season had commenced 2 months previously. Hilly range, steep corn, hammock, and plain were clothed with grass ripe for fire, that the grass was dry. The herds were numerous, the herds of cattle. The herds were numerous and all as fat as prize cattle. The man is writing, now this is now 1889. As fat as prize cattle. In the valley, we had passed over 4,000 cattle of the long-horned species. The basin of the Rizi, which we are now in, and which was heart of the Ankori, possessed scores of the finest herds of cattle I had never seen before. This is Stanley writing in 1889. Earlier, in 1862 and 1874, both Speke and Stanley, respectively, had traveled through and wrote about the Buganda area, bringing out the same point. Our ancestors were very productive in crops livestock, fishing, blacksmithing, backcloth making, poultry, etc. However, the whole society was still in the pre-capitalist stage of development without a money economy, relying on the less efficient system of okchurka. Okchurka in Runyankore means barter trade. Barter trade. There were some primordial efforts at using money in the form of cowrie shells, and simbi. Even now, in some of our dialects, money, esente, is still called ensimbi, which means cowrie shells, or sometimes mpiha, rupiah, still capturing those other efforts and at entering the money economy. When the British defeated our divided kings and took over Uganda, they introduced the money economy now based on the shilling. By 1962, when the British left, they had created a small island of money economy surrounded by a sea of underdevelopment, the economy of Okorre Kidakyonka, working only for the stomach. In the universities, in the 1960s, the description for those colonial and neo-colonial economies was enclave economies, small islands of money economy surrounded by a sea of pre-money traditional economic activities. In the case of Uganda, our small enclave economy was being described as an economy of the 3 C's and the 3 T's. The 3 C's were cotton, coffee, cotton, and copper, while the 3 T's were tea, tobacco, and tourism. The percentage of the homesteads inside this small island by 1969 was only 4% of the homesteads. When Idi Amin came in 1971, much of this small island was destroyed. Only coffee and tobacco kept limping on. Therefore, from our analysis and given our orientation formed throughout the formative years of the student movement in the 1960s, our strategic long-term goal was to achieve a total socio-economic transformation by building a modern society of the middle class and a skilled working class as had happened in Europe since 300 years ago. So when we came into the government, we knew that Africa, Uganda, were 300 years behind Europe. Because in Europe, they had built a middle class by the time of the French Revolution. You find there was a middle class there, 1789. But here, we are still in the pre-capitalist, pre-money traditional system, the one which was found by Stanley when he came here. Very productive, but productive in the non-money way of working only for the stomach. The bananas are there, the cows are there, but there's no money economy. It is based on okchurka, barter trade. And not that system, not efficient. If you want to, you have cows, but if you want to build a house, how will you buy cement? Are you going to take cows to the cement factory? Where will the cement factory put the cows? They don't have to. So you must find a way of converting the cows into money. And you go with the money to the factory. This is where the problem is. It's not a problem of resources, problem of organization. That's what was lacking. So from the very beginning, the NRM wanted to build a middle class and a skilled working class, as had happened to Europe 300 years ago. In order to achieve this, and given Uganda's natural resources base, we developed a plan for a modern economy based on 4 money-making sectors. Mulize banange, esente zisangibwa mu bubondo buna. The money is to be found in 4 money-making sectors. These are commercial agriculture with ekibaro, chura, otita, aymar. Commercial agriculture with ekibaro. Manufacturing, that means industries, services, and ICT. Our strategic goal is to make every adult Ugandan of working age join one of these sectors, either as an owner or as an employee. Given the collapse of the small island sector, economy, however, that strategic goal could not be achieved at one go. Since, however, we had philosophically, ideologically, and strategically correctly analyzed our situation, in spite of the opposition from some of the civil servants and the politicians, we have successfully attained 4 phases. These are the minimum economic recovery, meaning you bring back the 3 C's and the 3 T's, and also reformalize the economy that had become informal with magendo, etc. Second phase, expand the enclave of the 3 C's and 3 T's, make them bigger. That coffee, 1986 was 2 million bags, it's now 9 million bags. Tea was 3 million kilograms, it's now 60 million kilograms. So restore the 3 C's, but also, and T's, but also expand them. That is phase 2. Diversifying the enclave products by bringing into the money economy new products such as milk, beef, bananas, maize, fruits, Irish potatoes, cassava, etc. Because in those days they used to talk of cash crops and food crops. And during the time of the British and soon after independence, they would say coffee is a cash crop, cotton is a cash crop, milk is a food, it's not a cash. Bananas is a food crop, beans is a food crop. So, and some of us were saying, but coffee is not a food. Coffee is a beverage. A beverage, somebody to warm the blood, but not food, because you can't live by just eating. I can eat bananas and beans. Without coffee, I will live. I will not have the stimulus in the mouth, but at least I will live. But I cannot live by coffee alone, I will die. So why would you promote a beverage and neglect a food? What sort of logic was this? So we diversified by making cash products into items which were previously called only food items: milk, beef, bananas, maize, fruits, Irish potatoes, cassava. Everything is cash. Even marukwanga soon may be cash. Marukwanga, our product in Acholi. And number 4, start the knowledge economy of using science to create products such as vaccines, automobiles, electronic products, etc. However, all this could not happen if you do not work on some elements of the infrastructure, the roads, electricity, the ICT backbone, etc. This is how now you hear that our economy has expanded from US dollars 1.5 billion, 1986, to now US dollars 55 billion, albeit still being a raw materials producing economy. This is why you hear me insisting that this economy will jump to US dollars 500 billion by simply adding value to most of our raw materials, agricultural, mineral, forest products, our freshwater products, etc. In this journey, we have had some Ugandans listening to our message of socio-economic transformation through wealth creation in the four sectors of commercial agriculture with the Chivaro, manufacturing and artisanship, services, hotels, transport, entertainment, etc., and ICT. In this address, I will show you Ugandans who partially listened to our guidance and achieved considerable prosperity. In agriculture, I will show you the following. Number one, the dairy farmers of the cattle corridor, represented by Mzee Matongo of Ngoma. If you have his pictures, show it.
Amazina ninje George Matongo wa Ngoma Ngoma guntu hano gwataka shozi nandi kutaha umurimo gwanje ndi muri isa nteze mujya kureba nuko itandikira tatakanda gento bakubya talo bo hagwa kidan meirisa zakanya nagura amataka nyuse nazo zankorera ibintu kwenda zashubitiza abana bihereze naturuho kabanza mu nyankore naje nahindura nk'umwata ngo nzungu nuko zahangiranye nazitunga ati zungu zo ndisumute.
On our farm, we collect over 900 liters of milk per day, and a liter costs 800 shillings, which is approximately 21 million per month.
Unkeviona bakareto busingi nukarantu nkaka hundi n'ubusinge bwawe n'ubwaburi aho nabanditse nkabanza umuzi imyatsi nkatemwe rungiye byanze nazo muri agagandi aguma kureba harbaru ago nagargamo ati ndiyo muri yeje n'abakozi abatarahanse yankaga bakora imirimo imirundi ibiri babona barisa abandi bakama abandi bakura ubwanya icyo nkushiza abantu abo nambona cyo yakarura nk'abantu urwinyi munonga bako abantu baide ona barako abakozi n'abara family yanjye ntona family n'ashanga turi mbatu igana nayin tata hati ndewa turagira ukurisa kwinga bunyatsi twabikunda ntakubikora kuko twine bikoresho baronsa tractor zaha magombora tuguma tuziha insinga tebone twaka mutindo ubwo tengeza yabare wazi impawaga tractor munana akutera mugaro sabatwe na batinyenyenka tuyina obuzibu bwo butagira banka aho muri Ngoma, obushuma bukaba bw'amaani omuntu okutunda ente yawe ogenda oshaba Ruhango n'omukate oguzisiteyo, nari waaba oine ebi orikukora oreeba ngu ndikwenda kuza kuza ente Kampala kuyeeta kunu oine eki okuza kushashana kuza kukora orenda kyenda mwene okitinisa muzeeyi banokuheereza na banka n'ebyoma by'amate tibiine konka bikubara abandi batungira ebyoma by'amate g'esaano tigaine kandi twine maingi kandi otogira rwakyoma ky'okukoza esaano y'amate hakukorera tihaine twine amataka n'amate tigaine hati ekyo nikyo kyetaago kyaitu konka ekikuru munonga yebare munonga okututegeka gye okata obusiigi bwingi munonga burikwigana buti nkaga kuteera omu nsi.
Okay, now that man was saying that he inherited 50 cows in 1980 from his father, and he multiplied them. Then he has got a lot of cows now, as you saw, hundreds of them, both indigenous and the exotic, and that the girl, the daughter, was saying that they earn 21 million shillings a month from the milk because they are selling 900 liters a day. That is now almost 250 million shillings a year. And then he's saying that they now need a bank because they get problem to get money take money to Kampala. They need a bank in the area there, and they need tractors to plow grass and so on. And very happy about peace and so on. That is now, and you saw the house. The houses he was staying in were grass site. Now you see the houses the house is staying in. See the pictures of his house, his cattle, his educated family. Those children are educated, and hear his speech telling us what he earns. Many of the cattle corridor farmers, all the way from the Tanzanian border to Kiliandongo, have the same story. Like here in Ngoma North, we are saying how they have got 16 cooperatives, and then each one has got like 65 members or something like that. So it's not just a story of one person. It is the whole zone, from Tanzania up to Yandongo. They have listened to this message. Yet they are still using the free-range method, etc. When they go to zero grazing and to irrigation and stop the wealth fragmentation on inheritance, because they still have those problems, they will be much, much more rich. Number two, I then take you to Bundubujo, where even before the NRM time, our people there had learned the value of cocoa, coffee, palm oil, vanilla, and upland rice. Although their area is remote and initially did not have a road linking them to Fort Portal and no electricity, they have been quite prosperous for some time. Even in 1997, when their area was invaded by ADF, I was pleasantly surprised when I met long columns of internally displaced persons, all carrying clean beddings of foam mattresses. Foam mattresses, these ones from the factories here. I was also told that the Parishineris Congo, at that time, 1997, had 12 pickup vehicles. You can see their houses, many of which
I'm a farmer from Budibucho district in the Kabu sub-county. I'm farming cocoa, cardamom, fish farming, and bananas and vanilla. I've been growing cocoa over 30 years. I have 33 acres of cocoa. Every month, when it's a big season, I usually get 20 M. In a year, I usually get 30 million in vanilla. I have 1,500 plants of cardamom. In every month, I usually get 1 M. First of all, myself, I'm healthy. Secondly, I have my children that I have educated. Fourth, I have my permanent houses in towns. I have even my vehicles, so that from cocoa and vanilla. Vanilla gave people money, even cocoa gave people money. So for that, that's why I used to thank the government. That the government, when the government is not good, you cannot do those things, and you be with those things.
Now you heard him, although we didn't hear him very well, but he says he's earning money from cocoa, and he's earning money from vanilla, and he's earning money. I wish somebody could totally tap for us properly, and he has been doing it for cocoa for more than 30 years, and vanilla, and then something else, cardamom or something, which they are growing. Now, but they have been very prosperous for a long time. Now, the problem was they did not have a tarmac road. We did it for them. And you saw the wires of electricity going there now, which we have also taken there. Those were not there. We took them later. So you can see how well they are doing. And he told you how he has educated his children. You saw the house, his houses. You saw it there. You then come to the tea growing areas of Fort Portal, Bunyoro, Bushenyi, Kanungu, Kabare, Kisoro. Let's see the tea now. Now you can see the huge, the tea production went from 3 million bags, 3 million kilograms in 1986 to 60 million kilograms. Unfortunately, in recent times, tea has seen the decline of prices. Why? It is because the global demand of the tea is not so big. It is only, they say, here they give me 112 billion. I didn't know it was so much in 2022. Compared to coffee, whose global value is US dollars 460 billion. This was the reason I did not include tea in my 4 acres model and its 7 activities. You remember my 4 acres model, I told you about coffee, fruits, dairy, food crops, poultry, piggery, and fish farming. This was because I was not sure about the global demand of tea, whether it was big enough to support big production. In addition to the problem of modest global demand for tea, in recent years, we have had political problems in the big tea-consuming countries of Egypt, Pakistan, etc., which apparently may have shrunk even more the demand for tea. I intend to meet the tea growers so that we agree on how to support them. Number 4, we have got many coffee growers in the Masaka zone that were encouraged by Operation Wealth Creation and our leaders and cadres in the area, such as the late Kasamba, the Honorable Sempija, Kalnon Samba, etc. You can see those beautiful gardens and nice houses of the farm. Now you can see how that project has changed the lives of those people. They should have showed us their houses. They should have shown them. Next time you show them and properly. Then now the number 7, example 7, we guided and assisted our people in Teso to shift from cotton to citrus, and also built a small factory to produce the Teso juice that we are now upgrading. You can see both the factory and some of the farmers.
My name is Opio Stephen from Soroti District, Dakabela County, Ochulo Sub-County, Ojom Parish, Agora Village. Borolo Akoriengo, Imuchuga, Pising Awu, Korea Mudungatoni Maido da Kere, Esakaswam, Otomatu Betana, Mugo da Korea and Nyamat, Nara Mami Pedori. Araito bone mami borni nyame mogo da korenga nunga nyam araito era nunga gwela radumuna somsina chiore anin
9 show us people who have benefited from PDM.
Nkafuna sente za PDM. Nkafuna ruto ya sokere omu January. Omunyamazire egrupu yaitu enyafuniremu bageta akweteiro portrait keeping eri ekusangiwa mu Kakumiro district, omu Kakumiro town council, Musemwema ward. Omu grupu ya kweteiro portrait keeping nkoranka treasurer we grupu eyo. Bwire buno omu grupu eyo abakafuna mu PDM tuli 11 baitu bwire buno bona bainohe enkoko ezibakuolekya kandi bafuniremu amagoba. Na nyowe mfuniremu ebirungi kuonka tinkakora mu garosi. Ndeeta obukoko obuto buli bwe kiro kimu nimbukuza nibwikiyo mwezi gumu. Obumara nintandika kutunda ninguza bamemba abakwenda abali aheru ya grupu yaitu abali mu grupu yaitu nibagenda nibakuza obumara nibatandika kutunda. Omu grupu eno tufuniremu ebirungi omu PDM era nkaito abakweteiro group tukusiima government ya Museveni ya NRM.
Amanya Nakyanzi Sofia nkola mu hoteli yibayita Toninyira. Nkubiriza abakyala bonna okuyingira PDM. Olw'ensonga PDM ina kyetwongeddeko kyamaanyi. Okubeera nga tukulaakulana kuba nayongerako bingi bwe nayingira PDM. Sente ezo zebeekuwadde akakadde kaba kamaanyi nnyo kaba katwongerako kinene. Kusinga okugenda mu bamanerenda kyonade sikitaddeekwe okugenda mu bamanerenda kubanga wali ojjayo emitwalo 10 ate odzaayo 2 mu mwezi n'okomekereza ng'okoze loosi. Naye nga akakadde ako ke batuwa katwongerako kinene nnyo era nkubiriza abakyala okwenyigira mu nkola ya gavumenti ya PDM kuba tuyambye nnyo tweyongeddeko nyongeddeko akayumba nze nandabika bulungi okusinzira ne bakasitoma bange beeyongedde yali atunda emmere ey'$2,000 kati ntunda ya 5 kitegeeza neeyongedde kinene n'abali abeeyongedde.
Senior citizen Oramwende Senina of Kakumiro West is extremely happy for the president to have such a great vision of the PDM. She received her 1 million shillings and immediately started a piggery project. Senina tells us a very successful and inspiring story. With the success she has so far registered, Senina dreams of expanding the project beyond what she is currently owning.
Kaleta muzeyi nanyi naikiriza muzeyi ya bampa $1,000,000 kuruga mu banka beto mu banka tukasigayo emitwalo 5 twatunga 9.5 nyonda shemera bwa muzeyi abwe kintu kyatukoleire akampa sete zibampere naziguramwe empunu zanje murazireba bishatu byatwarwa mukama we nanka ni we numi buli mpunu kugene sabara kwecana uramugaruza cyana kimwe cyempunu batware byana bishatu ati yansigize byana bina ebyana mwenda nkabitunda kuna amazire kubitunda napangisa akataka naryala mwenshi ngerimwe binyobwa ngerimwe mumondo bujungu ngerimwe bihimba era na nyamwazo kubishe butibambwene wombere ndi munta bindi kuhinga wawuri mbene namara kutundiga bihimba mukama yanyambe mpunu zanje ati yazirabuza nkesande nkebizikashwazi ke mu murundi gwako umurundi gwa kabiri zamara kuzara amagoba gunda atungende yakasete nkatwale mu banka nze kuba mbikireyo nebyo kuriya byanje aliko biragera ki aliko birera ndatunda beto mu mesho wanga yanyambire zikakura nandena ngo nije nyongereye nankeje kojya munyina kasete nobere nayongereye nanka naho kute nankeje aho kuta obwana yebuzira bako obwana ati yinda butera mutere kuriya munju era buryo kompo niyo mbusherekero munju obwana bwasigere hobona.
Now you can see how the PDM, which started recently, has helped these people. The first of all, the other girl, the first one was selling chicken, getting the ones which are 1 year old, 1 day old, or 1 week old, and fattening them and selling them. And she was, they didn't give their figures. Should encourage them to give figures, but you can see they are happy. Then the other one, even the ones in the town, when she's a vendor, she's a food seller, and they used to get money from money lenders, which was very expensive. This one of PDM is cheap. They are very happy that they are able now to buy food, cook, and sell. The food vendor, food seller in Wise here in the town. She was talking very. Then the other old woman was talking about the pigs. The pigs, how they have produced, and how she has sold some and hired land somewhere and planted beans and Irish potatoes, and how next time she will put money in the bank. They are all very happy. Now, when it comes to large scale, because these are all small scale, mainly small scale, medium scale. But we have also got the large. When it comes to large scale agriculture, extensive, different from intensive agriculture, you can see the sugarcane growing, ranching, etc. Let's see those ones also. Now that is large scale farming. You didn't show ranching. Why didn't you show ranching? You don't have the pictures? That's a big rancher now. I think that rancher, you may know him. Those are two big ranchers. I have seen them somewhere in you. Okay. The Here, of course, the whole thing is the chura, the chibaro, which we always tell you about. From sugar cane, when you do it in 1 acre, you are not going to get money out of it. But when you do it on a big scale, you get money. Now, those indigenous cows, like the ones, when we started, they were not getting good money. But even now, even individually, one cow gives you a lot of money now, because now people know their value. But at the beginning, it was only for beef, and they were giving us little money per cow. But because of numbers, you would get good money. But now it is both intensive and extensive. From one cow, I can get millions of shillings, and from men, I get millions, or even billions of shillings. So that is on the side of the extensive agriculture, especially for sugar cane, even maize. I don't count maize among the intensive crops. It is also, in order to make money out of maize, you need to do it on a big scale. The same with cotton. We need cotton, but it must be done on a big scale. Now, that is examples of agriculture who have listened to our advice. So when you sit here and you are busy, I normally read what these people are writing in this paper, monitor and so on, very thin. But people, the Banyankole say, ezimbiraka tama, tezibira zindi kulia. Meaning that if one cow has got a swollen mouth, it may not graze. But the cows which are not sick will graze and eat. So those who listen to our advice, they are moving. They are moving. And they are moving. But those who sit here and just tell lies, they can deceive themselves. But we are moving. Those who listen are moving. Moving very well. You have seen some, quite a number. These are just a sample. Now, in the manufacturing and artisanship, I will show you some of the factories and artisan efforts. The manufacturing sector is now exporting goods worth of US dollars 2.5 billion per year, per annum, employing 922,000, almost 1 million people. This is a new sector, Amakoriro, already earning 2.5 billion, more than coffee. Show us some of those factories, please, if you have them. Now you can see some of those factories, the fuel in Kapeka and the ones in Namangwe. They haven't shown you the ones of Mbale, Jinja, this other place, Buikwe. All those are, even areas like Rira have a lot of factories. As you hear now, industrial products, $2.5 billion. This is totally new money, which was never there before. And employing almost 1 million people. The whole public service, some few years ago, when I checked, was 480,000 people. So the people who are working in the factories now are 2 times almost the size of the people working for the government, including the soldiers, the policemen, the civil servants, the local government. The people working in the factories are now bigger in number, almost 2 times. The third sector is services, hotels, tourism, transport, education, entertainment, etc. Show us. Now that is the services sector, hotels, tourism, the transport, entertainment. They should have shown you entertainment. Those are all parts of the services. Now finally, the fourth sector is ICT. It is employing 40,972 people. This is a totally new sector. the progress in the 4 sectors is still partial. All of them have got huge room for improvement and expansion. Now you can see all those like the agriculture, most of it is without irrigation. But we are now telling our people to go to irrigation, and we are assisting them. So all that production you saw, much of it is without irrigation and without fertilizers. So if you have got any brain to think, you must have had a rumor that NRM is planning for irrigation. And we have already started with the solar power, with the what. So you can imagine. Now Dr. Muranga has already gone ahead of us and introduced irrigation at Nyaruzinga. The government center we gave her, she started irrigating bananas. The farmers nearby are getting 5.3 tons per hectare in the villages. But Dr. Muranga at Nyaruzinga, she's getting 53 tons of bananas per hectare, 10 times what the farmers are getting because of irrigation and fertilizer. So you, the lazy ones, stay tuned. You'll hear what's happening to Uganda. Musigare ku channel ezo muwuliriza abakola sente ngeri gye tugenda kukola sente. The other farmers, these cattle corridor farmers, you had Mzee Matongo saying, now you give us a tractor and we plow grass. And I have given them, I'm going to give them 8 tractors in the Ngoma area, so that they plant grass. Instead of just waiting for grass grown by God, they plant the grass deliberately. However, so the progress in the 4 sectors is still partial. That's why I'm saying that this is partial. Tukyatandika, gakyali mabaga, tujja. It's still partial. All of them have got huge room for improvement and expansion. Are you on or you are off? Mweba TV. Are Ugandans seeing us or not? Huh? You are on. However, as we struggle to involve our people in the money economy, in the socio-economic transformation, the next question is, where is the market for these products? That is why all the serious young people should have long ago taken up the call of Mwalimu Julius Nyerere, and we, his followers, and that of Kwame Nkrumah, of the economic and political integration for East Africa and the economic integration for the whole of Africa, to provide a market for all these products. Where do we sell the milk? Where do we sell the maize? Where do we sell the sugar? Where do we sell the cement, etc.? Milk production is 5.3 billion liters, but the internal consumption is only 800 million liters. Maize production is 5 million tons, but our internal consumption is only 1 million tons. Sugar production is 650,000 tons, but the internal consumption is only 380,000 tons, etc. It is a disaster for the future of Africa to hear the young people talking only about the football of the clubs in Europe, or just pushing the agenda of the imperialists. The future of Africa mainly belongs here. Coming to the issue of jobs, we must ask the question, where are the jobs to be found? We have already answered the question. The big number of jobs is to be found in the 4 sectors: commercial agriculture, manufacturing and artisanship, services, and ICT. There is a young man called Irumba of Hoima. He's on telephone number 0772 593782. Recently wrote to me, informing me about wealth creation, that they started in 3 acres to produce 1,200 trays of eggs per day. And they are earning shillings 600 million net per year profit after removing costs and employing 50 youth. Now, if Irumba and his colleagues are now employing 50 youth in 3 acres, that means each one is each acre is able to employ 16 of them, 16 youth. We have got 40 million acres of arable land. If only 7 million acres of the land we are using the Irumba model of creating 50 jobs out of 3 acres, 116 million jobs would be created. Would have so many jobs that would have to import workers from outside Uganda from agriculture alone. Our farms, my farms with Mama at Rwachitula, Kisozi, Ntunga, etc., have already created hundreds of jobs for some Ugandans. You heard there the old man Matongo saying that he's employing 60 people. You heard him saying. My farms employ hundreds of workers. The other 4 sectors: commercial agriculture, manufacturing, you saw the factories, how many people they employ, services, ICT. But now, the other source of jobs is infrastructure development, building roads. You need civil engineers. Power stations, you need civil and electrical engineers. Hospitals, you need doctors. Schools, you need teachers. Of course, these are also, you can treat them as part of the services. The ones who build infrastructure, the engineers, those are also really part of the services sector. So it's just a subgroup. Now, the big confusion, like the other man, Mzee Matongo, the farmer, when we went there, he told us that he has got now 10 degrees in his house. 10 of his children are now university graduates, but they don't have jobs. The job they are looking for, this is where the confusion is. The jobs they are looking for are for the administrative jobs. The administrative jobs are few. The Muluka chief, the Gombora chief, the cow, the assistant secretary in a ministry, the senior assistant secretary, the principal secretary, the under secretary, the permanent secretary. These are the jobs in the administration. They are few. You can total all of them in the central government and in the local government. If you include the soldiers, the policemen, who are service providers in those, the number, the one I used to know was 480,000, all the public service, but including the scientists. But if you were to remove the administrators around, maybe 40,000 and the policemen. So therefore, it is a mistake, and that's why I wanted to talk to you on this issue also. It is a mistake for our young people to expect jobs, many job opportunities in the services in the administrative sector, in administration. If you qualify with a university degree, history, political science, what? Go into farming, because this stops you from farming, from starting a business, starting a maize mill, starting a fish farming project. You don't have to. So therefore, all the young people who have got social science degrees should straight away link up with the programs. That is Irumba now. Let me hear what Irumba is saying.
This farm in 20.
That's the one who wrote to me.
I'm called David Irumba. I work with the Ministry of Local Government as a principal inspector. After listening to the President's message on a 4-acre model, I decided to start this farm in 2018, located in Bulera Village, Hoima East Division, Hoima City. I started with the 10,000 layers, having gotten a loan from Microfinance Support Center, and that time we were employing about 20 employees directly here. We accommodate all of them here, feed them here, and that time we started producing about 250 trays of eggs. We have now progressed, and with the support of Centenary Bank and the Uganda Development Bank, we were able to reach 40,000 now. Currently, we are producing 1,200 trays of eggs every day on average, and we can on average make a net profit of about 50 million shillings per month, which translates into about 600 million shillings per year. But of course, as I've said, we took mortgages. Most of this money is going back into repaying the mortgages. And of course, we want to thank the financial institutions which supported us to get us this far. This farm is being run under the company name called Haywood Group Limited, owned by myself and my wife called Alpha Kemijisha. Right now, we're employing 50 employees directly, whom we accommodate here. We are feeding them here. And we want to thank the government for giving us initiatives. Umeme was able to give us a transformer. We started without power. We now have power. The transformer is located in our farm. And this power was also extended to the whole village. By the time we started here, we didn't have power. We now have power. And we are also lucky that we are near the city abattoir, which in the construction, the incorporated construction of the tarmac road, we are just directly on the brand new tarmac coming to our city abattoir, which is just next to me. Right now, because of those small proceeds, we are able to start expanding slowly. We have now expanded. We have now reached about 4 acres of mature coffee, which we are harvesting, just next to our 4 acres we started with. And we have also been, I have also been able to now plant another 20 acres of coffee in Bulindi, where I'm born. This land was bequeathed to me by my late father. and we are progressing. We also want to thank Hoima District Local Government, which gave us an irrigation system for our coffee here, which is now functional, and we are now able to get about 20 million shillings per year from the 4 acres of coffee we have. It is because it is still young, I think it will be generating much more as it matures. This project has really enabled me move a very long way. It has supported my children who are studying outside this country. 2 of them, one is in Mauritius, another is in Nairobi Strathmore University, and my other 2 children who are in international schools.
Welcome to Kamai Demonstration Farm. My name is Fred Byamukama. I'm a member of Parliament of Bugangezi West Constituency, Kakumiro District. We are now at our 4-acre demonstration farm. The land we have here is approximately 4 acres. This is a farm we started 2 years back here, 2.5 years back. And on this farm, we have a half acre of pineapple. We have cows for zero grazing. We have 12 of them for zero grazing, 2 which are giving us milk. We have poultry, about 25,000 birds, but only 11,000 are giving us eggs. And we have 1 acre of grass. We have piggery, those are very many. And 1 acre of coffee mixed with banana. Where we are, this is the 4-acre model farm. I did this activity to teach my voters, to lead by example, so that my voters can learn what measure the president tells the public. This is an initiative I learned from the president sometime back when he sent me to learn to Kaumu, to Kisozi. I copied what I copied, this is what I came up with. And you see as we move, or that side, this side, that's my 4-acre model farm. The house as well. I don't sleep here, but if I will sleep here, the house as well. You see, because there are 2 which are giving me milk, each one gives me 12 liters per day. We get about 1.4 per month, because the breeds which we got at first were not giving good milk. But we have got some cows, which they tell us they are giving about 25 to 30 liters, and we know by the end of this year, they will have produced, and we see. When you look at poultry, out of the 25,000 birds, it's only 11,000 giving me eggs. Others are soon giving me, and I get 302 trays per day minimally, because 11,000 birds are supposed to give me 366 trays. But because of the feeding method of deep litter, I don't get all the eggs. I get 302 trays per day minimally. When you look at the piggery,
you get how much?
In a month, I can get about
300.
302 trays per day minimally, because 11,000 birds are supposed to give me 366 trays. But because of the feeding method of deep litter, I don't get all the eggs. I get 302 trays per day minimally. When you look at the piggery, in a month, I can get about between 150 and 180 piglets. But those I don't sell, I give to my neighbors. When you look at coffee, we haven't started harvesting. But generally coffee here, if you have harvested well, per acre you get between 12 million, 15 million. But now the banana which is in coffee, we are already eating, and per month I may get like 40 bunches, I get some good. But majorly here, what is giving me money? There are the pineapples, the 4.5 million per harvest, and I harvest twice a year. You will see, even as now, there are those which I can harvest for my friends to take. Then the poultry, it gives me 302 trays. That is per day. Then I sell in a month, you can get a net profit of 55 million. Because you get 108 million, but you can't get all that. You have to buy feeds, pay workers, pay electricity. Remain with 55 million net pay. The 1 acre for grass, it is feeding my 6 cows. I'm told by the agriculture people, I even have the balance to add more 2 cows. They tell me 1 acre can feed the 8 cows. Currently, I'm employing 26 people Previously, I was employing 17, but I added in more things in the farm, and I'm employing 26 people. And the person who learns the least amount is 200. They are here. The girls, single mothers, the boys who have families, and we're enjoying. The driver who drives the Katipa here, really there is good work. And I'm happy some of them who are working for me, they have also started their own neighboring places, and even the voters, they have learned from me. Really, they have nothing to beg from me because the richness they want from my pocket, I've given it them here free of charge.
Very good. So that is now Byamukama, who is our Minister of State for Transport. He learned, he listened to my advice when he came with his father before the swearing in. Then he went back and started that after the elections. And you hear he's now selling 302 trays per day of eggs, and he gets a net of 85 million a month. That's quite a bit of money in a year. So therefore, the social science graduates should not pin their hopes on these administrative jobs in the central and local government. There are endless jobs in the private sector. Our social science graduates should aim at going into the private sector in the 4 sectors: commercial agriculture, manufacturing or small scale or artisanship, services or ICT. Our daughters finished education many years ago, and they are all farmers. Our own daughters, they are all farmers. It is only General Muhoozi who is in the army on account of patriotism. However, he is also a farmer. The families must instill these concepts among the youth. The families should, because I have been interacting with the, I don't know whether you have got the picture of when I was showing him the cows when he was young. That was me and Muhoozi, 1986, Christmas, the first Christmas from the bush. I took him to the cows to show him that you person, your work is here. The cows, the children. Now, thank you. You can now I have been interacting with some young people from around Kampala here. The NRM Secretariat has not been following up these social groups seriously, and our political leaders they go on the surface. Apparently, there are some young children, young people who are born to Kampala people, Kampala ghetto dwellers, not civil servants, not working in a factory, but the ones who, there is a young boy whom I met who says, I was born in Katanga. You know Katanga? Katanga is a slum area between Makerere and Mulago. Now, these children, some of them have never seen what production is. You don't know, our people should do social analysis of our, the ones from the rural areas. I blame them, and the NRM also, they should teach, talk. The Secretariat, the RDCs should talk but also the parents, the families. The families should talk to the young people to know the importance of being part of the wealth creation in the 4 sectors. Either you are a farmer or you are a myoga. This is a myoga was the traditional way. A blacksmith is a myoga. Carpentry was a myoga. A specialization. Or services. Now, but also the ones in the town here, we need to, the NRM people need to look them out and guide them on how to be wealth creators. Finally, a word about people I will describe as unfair for now, out of politeness. While we the wealth creators are busy creating wealth for Uganda, some elements, some of them from opposition, are always working with foreigners to foment chaos in Uganda. Riots, illegal demonstrations, illegal and inconsiderate processions, etc. These people are unfair and inconsiderate, and they should check themselves. We shall have no alternative but to check them. I don't know whether these people captured the amount of food in the markets. If you have got the picture, do you have it? You saw the bananas which were being packed, but you didn't capture the food in the markets here. Should have captured the food in the markets. But you saw the other bananas. Show us the bananas of Isingiro. Now you can see the amount of banana. Those are bunches. You freeze that one. Focus it and freeze it. Focus it properly. Bring it in the center of the. Bring the heap in the center of the picture. GJRE, bring it down so that, remove the other the upper, bring it down. Okay, but people can see it now. You can see those are all bunches of bananas. You can see. I had wanted them to show you the bananas in the market when they have arrived here, but you can see those in just one farm. Okay, go back to the broadcast. See the amount of food. I had wanted to say in the markets. Who is producing it? Us, we the wealth creators. Who benefits from this huge production? everybody benefits. That's why you hear that the price of bananas now is 3,000 in the village. I don't know how much it is here in the town. How much is it now in the market? Huh? In the market?
Around 10,000, Your Excellency.
8,000.
10,000.
Yes. So the food prices have come down because of the production of the Ugandans, because we are producing. Now, my question is, what right then do you have to seek to generate chaotic behavior? What right do you have? We are busy producing wealth. You are getting cheap food. Other people in the other parts of the world are starving. They are crying for hunger. And you here, you want to disturb us. You are playing with fire because we cannot allow you to disturb us. And it is very unfair of you. You don't ask yourself, these people who are doing all this, who don't sleep, who work all the time so that I get cheap food, I get easy things, what will they say if I try to disturb them? You must. Now when you hear people talking of demonstrations, what? Demonstrate, when you demonstrate in a place like Kampala, people are sitting on the roadside. They are sitting on the roadside. When I pass by boys there, they have got their chairs on the roadside. Are you going to step in people's products or trample their chairs, their furniture? You are playing. Do not have such ideas in your head. If you have got some good ideas, there was a time when Nakarema some time ago organized us, and on a weekend, on a Sunday when there was nobody on the road, we walked to Kororo and we were talking about corruption. So if you want, contact Nakarema on a day when there is no Sunday, there's no traffic here in the center. At least we can go to Kororo and talk nicely about whatever we want to talk about, but do not bring. Don't be tempted to bring chaos, step on people's products on the road. I have never been to a court of law except 1956. That was the only time I was in a court of law. At that time I was about 11 years old. And I was looking after my father's cows. Then I got diverted to play football with other children. Then the cows went into other people's crop, into somebody's garden. By the time I looked, the cows I found them eating a man's millet, eating. Oh, then that's a very serious offense. Manga Banyankore, they call it okwonesa. I don't know whether we have a lawyer here. I don't own okwonesa. I don't know the sentence. But in this case, my father counseled me that now I was going to the parish court, Ikitehurizi, parish court, so that when you go there, you say, Omushango ni mwikiriza. I plead guilty. So when I got there, the court was under the tree. It was not even it was under Omtuba in one of the Rusuku, a ficus tree, Omtoma. That's why the parish court was, you man, you boy, do you accept do you plead guilty to damaging Mr. Museveni? This was the garden of Mr. Kame. I said, yes, no, I don't remember whether I paid the fine or what. But now, to have a culture like I see in other parts of the world, where they are damaging property, they are here in our culture here, you can't trample in my garden. You can't come and trample in my garden, or your cows cannot. That's how you hear problems in Karamoja, Teso, because the Karamoja bring cows and they trample people's crops. Then there is trouble there. So we are wealth creators. We have defended the direction of Uganda's revolutionary path in the past, and we shall defend it even more now. So please, I congratulate the wealth creators. I encourage them. I want to challenge the ones who have been on the side not involved to please know that we are moving. The wealth creators are moving. Join us if you can. But if you can't, don't disturb. With these few words, I thank everybody for listening, and I ask the Honorable Nankavirwa to see whether she can summarize some of the issues to do with the environment first and wealth creation in one of our local languages.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. President atandise n'okubalamusa bannayuganda naddala abazzukulu era ng'alina ensonga 5 ezimuleese okwogerako gye muli, kubanga ng'olugero lwatugeredde olw'abanyankole ffe tulina mu Luganda nti emyasiro emingi giwabya embwa. Bw'obanga ogankwata wano dduka vaayo dda wano nga muli bangi nga mulagira embwa egenza okuyigga, kugamba bwe muba mwenna mwasira embwa ebulwa ekkuba ery'okkwata. N'ekyo Pulezidenti avuddeyo ayongere okutangaaza ku nsonga 5 ng'esoose ebadde ya butonde bwansi. Obutonde bw'ensi tuba twogera ku bibira, tuba twogera ku migga, tuba twogera ku ntobazi, tuba twogera ku embeera eyo ng'ey'obutonde bw'ensi. Era Pulezidenti n'atulaga ne maapu kati ezitulaga ebibira byaffe bwe byali mu gya 1985 86 bwe bajjira mu buyinza, naye ne babegako ku mirembe gya Idi Amin bwe yateekawo order oba etteeka, abantu ne baba nga bamala gasenga, ebibira ne babigendamu ne bitandika okuggwaawo. Maapu ezo Pulezidenti azitulaze ku screen, naye n'atujjukiza nti mu 1995 gavumenti yateekawo etteeka ery'okutaasa obutonde bw'ensi. N'olwekyo omulimu NEMA gweriko kati okukola nga egoba abantu mu ntobazi esinziira ku eryo etteeka. Waliwo abamu ababadde banenya NEMA nga bagamba nti lwaki aba NEMA baleka abantu ne batuula mu ntobazi. Kakati ekyo Pulezidenti agambye kale oyinza okuba nga oli mutuufu okunenya NEMA, naye ate gwe kennyini eyatuula mu lutobazi ng'omanyi etteeka weeriri, gwe lwaki watuula mu lutobazi? Ate nga basinga musenzeewo mu myaka gino. Era atulaze entobazi n'emigga, abali ku mbalama z'emigga tusobodde okulaba wano mu Lubigi, abadde ayagala atulage Eddanze, abadde ayagala atulage Rumansi, nti emabega ddala ku myaka egyo abantu baabeerangayo batono, sinakindi nga n'awamu tebaliiwo. Naye ebiseera bino abantu badde bajjumbidde okwaŋŋanga okugenda okutabangula obutonde bw'ensi. N'olwekyo nga tonnabuuza bannema era nga tonnasaba kuliyirira, olina okukimanya nti gwe kennyini walina obuvunaanyizibwa okutaasa obutonde bw'ensi. Lwaki tutaasa obutonde bw'ensi? Lwakubanga enkuba gye tufuna wano ebitundu 60 ku 100 biva mu mayanja aganene, Indian Ocean n'ago agayanja aganene. Naye ebitundu 40 ku 100 ebyenkuba gye tufuna biva mu bibira bye tulina, biva mu migejo, biva mu bisaalu bye bitutonyeseza enkuba nga sayansi bwe twamusoma abamusomako. Enkuba eyo omukka gugenda waggulu, ekire ne kyekola ate amazzi ne gavaamu. Yenkuba gye tulina wano. Era tetujja kwogera nnyo omugaso gwa nkuba. Pulezidenti atutegeezezza nti ebisaalu ng'ekyokulabirako mwe tufune ebintu bye tukozesa okubikka ensuku zaffe. Ebitoogo ebyo bye mulaba oluusi babikolamu n'empapula, naye tubikozesa okubikka ensuku. Tulinamu ensonzi, tulinamu ebyennyanja, tulinamu emmale, tulinamu emidde egivaamu eddagala, nga ebyo byonna bisangibwa omwo. Naye okusingira ddala bikola nga akasengejja oba essengejjero erisengejja amazzi enkuba bwe beetonnye obutadduka sipiidi okweyiwa mu nnyanja ze tulina. Ekitoogo ekyo ke kabubi oba ly'essengejjero erisengejja amazzi ago. Era atubuulidde nti edda bo baagendanga ku migga n'anywa bunywi ng'amazzi tegafumbiddwa kubanga gaabeeranga gasengejjeddwa. Naye kati essengejjero tuba tulitabangudde amazzi ne gabanga gatutuukako nga tegasengejjeddwa. N'ekirala bw'ojjawo akatimba ako amazzi gajja kudduka sipiidi yiriiri mukoka gabenga gakoka buli kimu gatwala. So bwe gabanga gatambula mpola amazzi ako gakka wansi ne gongera obungi bw'amazzi ge tulina mu ttaka oba omuntu gayita ensulo. Kati bw'obanga oggyewo akasengejja ako kubanga oli mu ntobazi olimyemu ojjuzaamu ettaka eddala, kati n'ensulo nazo zijja kusenguka olabe nga tufuna ekyeya. N'olwekyo ebibira emigga gye tulina ebyo bya mugaso nnyo era oba ozzizza omusango ogwa nnamaddala bw'obanga obigenzeemu nga tonnasaba kuliyirira kubanga abannema kati bali mu mulimu ogw'okuzzaawo ebibira byaffe. Gwe kennyini kirowoozeeko kubanga gavumenti ekusonyiye walibadde nga osibwa kubanga oba yonoonye etteeka ye erya 95 ate naffe oba otuzzaayo mu butabeera na mmere. Omugaso gw'ebibira tugulabira mu bitundu bibiri e Karamojja n'eno mu West Nile oba mu Balugwala. Kate nga ebitundu ebyo byombi ku nsi biteekwa okuba nga byali badde bifaanagana nga byali badde bifuna enkuba nga y'emu. Naye olabanga mu West Nile bafuna enkuba nnyingi okusinga e Karamojja. Lwaki? Kubanga West Nile baliraanwa ne Congo. Ekongo eriyo ebibira eby'amaanyi ennyo ate Abakaramojja nga tebabirina. N'olwekyo eno mu West Nile mu Balugwala eyo bo bafuna enkuba y'amaanyi kubanga bayambibwako baliraanwa.
N'entobazi eza South Sudan, entobazi
n'entobazi ez'amaserengeta ga Sudaani ziyamba kubanga be baliraanwa aba West Nile. Awo mu bibira ebirala bye tulabye nga Busoga, Bukedi, ne mu Lubigi nayogeddeyo n'Egganda. Bo Abasoga bagendayo okulimayo omuceere, e Bukedi bagendayo okulimayo omuceere nayo era babadde baakasengayo. Pulezidenti atunyumirizza ku basajja ababiri Stanley abatambuze abajja wano ne bawandiika ekitabo ne batulaga obulungi bw'ebitundu bye bagendamu ng'eyo tuli mu Kongo eyo ne balaga ebiwonvu ne balaga emigga ne balaga obusozi ne bagenda mu Ankole ne banyumya ku nte ez'omwankole ne balaba ensinga bwe yakulamu era ne bawandiika nti abantu baaliwo nga bangi nga tebalina n'ebyokukola. So abasajja abo baalaga obulungi obuli mu Uganda. ekyobutonde bw'ensi pulezidenti akitaddeko essira kubanga twagala n'okukozesa amazzi ago tukyuse mu mbeera gye tubadde tukozesa ey'okulinda enkuba tusimbe, tulinde enkuba tusimbe. Ate bwe tusimba enkuba eyinza okutonnya obubi, bw'etonnya obubi tetufunamu bye tulimye. Naye bwe tuba amazzi gaffe nga tugalina ne bwe twagala kusima kubanga ensulo ziba weeziri, bw'obanga obutonde bw'ensi obutaasizza amazzi tegadduka buddusi kugenda na buli kimu wabula gakka mu ttaka, tutagetinga okukozesa amazzi ago okufukirira. Tubenga bye tukola byeyongeddemu obungi n'omutindo, era nga waliwo ne kampani eyatuukira pulezidenti omu omuyindi omukyala ne mutabani we aba Nexus Green, abo nga bagenda kutandika okukozesa amaanyi g'enjuba okukola pampu ezigenda okupika amazzi okuva mu ttaka tusobole okugakozesa tufukirire, tusobole okubeera n'emmere, tusobole okubeera ne production obanga tulima nga tetulinze enkuba. N'olwekyo gwalumba obutonde bw'ensi n'ojjawo essengejjero, n'ojjawo ebyomugaso bye tukozesa okubikka, katta buteme, ebitoogo, gw'oba otuzzaayo emabega. Era pulezidenti ekyo akubidde ffenna omulanga okulaba nti tuleke ennema ekole omulimu gwayo, ezzeemu obutonde bw'ensi amaanyi. Kati ensonga ey'okubiri ebadde ey'obugagga. Tufuna tutya obugagga? Kubanga obudde bugenze, pulezidenti ojja kunsonyiwa, obutonde bw'ensi mbukomyawo ngende ku nsonga ey'okubiri eya tutumbula tutya obugagga. Tuvudde emabega nga pulezidenti ayogera ku wealth creation, n'atuwulira nti baabazungu bwe baali wano balina ebirime bye baatugambanga nti byo byakuggyamu ssente nga pamba, tobacco, taaba n'amajaani, nga emmwanyi n'ekikomo oba kopa, ebyo byakuggyamu nsimbi. Naye ebirala gano matooke gammwe, simanya kasooli, simanya bino bye tujjamu essente buli kintu. Kati namala kwanga ow'omunoosi eyo omusanga nga bamutunda, ebyo bali baalinganga tebabitwala nti byakuggyamu ssente. Naye okuva President Museveni lwe yajja ng'asanze nga ebyenfuna byaffe biri ku akawumbi kamu n'ekitundu $1 mu 1986, kubanga baalinga ku nkola eyo, n'atandika okugaziya obwongo, n'atandika okutuleetera amagezi okulaba nti ne bye tuyita nti ezo food crops, eyo kulya mmere luli baakikozesanga kuwaanyisa nga n'ensimbi tetunaba kuzitegeera bulungi. Kaakati tulabira ddala nga tugenze mu buwumbi 2.5 obwa $, mu ekonomi yaffe. Ndowooza awo pulezidenti n'atulaga omugaso gw'okulaba nti twenyigira mu kulima bwe kutyo. Pulezidenti yaleeta enkola eya 4-acre model, era atulaza abalimi abo ababadde bawuliriza enjiri ye ey'okukozesa ennima ey'omulembe ng'ate ogitabula n'ekiki ky'oba olima, va ku kulima ebibala nga taaba ebitwala ettaka eddene, wabula bw'obanga olina ettaka ettono osobola okuteekako emmwanyi. Kyova olaba tagamba kuteekako majaani, kubanga n'akatale k'ensi yonna ak'amajaani era nako si kalungi nnyo nga kammwanyi. Akugamba oteekeko emmwanyi, oteekeko enkoko, oteekeko ente, oteekeko ebisagazi. Eyo enjiri azze agitubuulira tukyuse mu kulima. Era ku mutimbagano okwo atulaze abawuliriza eddoboozi lye lyabadde atukubiriza nga balimidde watono ne bafuna kinene. Tubalabyeko abali mu nkoko babaguma, tubalabyeko abali abafunye mu njiri eno abasobodde okukyusaako, naye nga bonna kye boogerako kiri kimu. Neeyagala, nsomesezza abaana, nina diguri 10 nga muzeeyi Matongo ow'Engoma, nina diguri 10, nsobola nzimbye, nkyusizzaamu obulamu bwange, naye ng'ate abamu bagenda ne bakaaba nti abaana be baweeredde tebalina mirimu, nti ebyetaago ebirala nga ow'okutereka ensimbi banka n'ebirala pulezidenti byatunyonnyoddeko bw'atuuse ku nsonga ekwata ku kugaba emirimu. Ku nsonga eno era eya wealth creation tulabye nga bayambiddwako enteekateeka endala ng'eya parish development model. Tulabye abakyala abali mu butawuni ye nga yeeyagala, akakadde ke baamuwa kaamuwonya okgenda mu bano abawola ensimbi ezirimu amagoba amangi, era abamu balowooza akakadde ako katono, naye batulaze omuntu wa kawoteeri ng'ayongeddemu essente ne bakasitoma ne beeyongerako. Ate omulala ye n'afuna n'alunda mbizzi ye Kakumiro, omulala n'afuna n'alunda nkoko omukyala, era nga bakubiriza bannaabwe nabo benyigire mu nkola ya parish development model. So eyo naye enkola etuyambako okutumbula, tulekeraawo okukolera ekidda kyonka, kukolera lubuto lwokka, naye tubenga tukwata ku ssente, tubenga tusobola okweyimirizaawo. Tulabye ku bantu tulabye omusajja w'ebundi bujo Vincent oba Dickson Mate. Eyo saidi eyo yo eriyo koko oba kokoa, naye bagasseemu n'ebirala. Vanira agenda okugattagattamu, ayogera adigida, yagambye nti n'obulamu bwe kati awulira mulamu nnyo, afuna $13,800 omwaka, asobodde okwongera okugulako ebibanja, alabirira abantu be, ate akola ne mukyala we. Ebyo be bali eyebundi bujjo. Baabitandika, koko baamutandika, era tulabye amayumba gaabwe nga ga mabaati amakadde naye nga tewaliwo n'amapya. Tewaaliyo oluguudo, n'NRM gavumenti etaddeyo oluguudo n'amasannyalaze, era abantu bali mu kweyagala. Tulabye eisingiro, ebibira byayo matooke, ebibira by'eisingiro matooke, ensuku eziva kuno ezitambula kate mulimu n'amakubo. Eisingiro amatooke bagalima kubanga twava kweri enkola ey'okuba nti amatooke emmere yakulyako buli, olw'enjiri ya pulezidenti gy'abadde atubuulira. Amatooke gafuuse mangi na nnyo nti n'akatale katandise okukka, ate ekyo ne kibeera ekizibu kyoyo eyatukubiriza nti tulime nnyo. Naye nga ekyo nakyo ayina eddagala lyakyo pulezidenti, kubanga ayagala tugatteko omutindo, ate ayagala tuyirigeetinge oba tufukirire nga Dr. Muranga bw'atandise okufukirira eyo eisingiro, era ye Bushenyi, era ye olusuku lwe afunamu ttani 53 olw'okuba afukirira, naye abatafukirira ttani emu, ttani 5.3 ttani 5 n'obutundu, kale kiro 15,300 oli afuna kiro emitwalo 53 akubisaamu emirundi 10 kubanga afukirira. N'olwekyo olw'okuba nti emmere esse tuleme kweraliikirira nnyo, kubanga pulezidenti alina enteekateeka ey'okulaba ng'ateekako omutindo ku matooke ne kasooli, era ne kasooli yasse. Kasooli tusobola omukolamu amafuta, oba tusobola omukolamu ebintu bye tusobola okulunga mu mafuta gaffe, tukiyita blending, era tugenda kukitandikako, twali suppose kutandika mu mwezi guno gwennyini. Amatooke ago tusobola okugakolamu obuwunga oba ensaano, tusobola okugakolamu starch gwe tukozesa mu malwaliro olusi bamwetoolooza ku ddagala obwo obukaawa n'okamira nga tekakaawa kubanga kungulu kuliko sitaaki kubanga sitaaki si butwa. So enkola ey'okugattako omutindo ku bye tulima eyo ejja kuwonya ekirwadde ky'okuba nti tukaaba amatooke gasse ate gatumbuse. Ekalangala yo enjiri ya president yatwalayo ya binazi. Ebibira by'ekalangala binazi. Omuntu asobola okufuna $5,000 omwezi muyiika.
Ojjeko ensasanya.
Ng'ogyeko zaasaasaanyiza zaataddemu. Enteekateeka y'ekinazi pulezidenti yagikola bulungi nti abaaleeta ebinazi baagabiranga abantu n'ensigo n'ebigimusa. Era kakati enkola ya NRM tewali kulimanga tutaddemu bigimusa kubanga tuli ku production, tuli ku kutumbula obungi, tugiremu ddala ekyo kye tuteekwa okugyamu mu ebyo. So tulabye abalimi ebintu ebyenjawulo eteso. Nze mu supermarket abaana baagala nnyo kateju. Teju nali sirooza nti bakakolera wano Uganda. Teju means kitegeeza teso juice. Omubisi ogukamulibwa mu micungwa egirimiddwa eteso. Tulabye omwami n'omukyala nga batubuulira nti baatandikira kuyiika ntono ne bagenda nga balima ne bagaziya kati basobola okutunda emicungwa gyabwe ne basobola okugyamu ssente ne bawongera n'okugula ebibanja. Ebyo bye biri eteso. Eno wansi tulinayo abali mu nte abavudde abamu balimira ku ranches nga banene nnyo. Ente zaabwe zitandise okufuna value, zitandise okufuna omutindo omuwendo ogusanyusa. Naye olw'okuba batunda nnyingi nnyo ate era omuwendo ogusanyusiza ddala. Naye era n'okukyusaamu mu nte nga bwe twalabye mwami Matongo ne tulaba ne omwami n'omukyala bakaguta Museveni ng'ate ye president ne maama bagenda bakyusaamu olw'okwagala okufuna ennyama ku nte ezikula amangu naye ate era n'okwagala okufuna amata amangi. So enkola ya wealth creation oba enkola eya okukola ofune ssente president aginyikiza era n'atusaba tutandike okwetegereza bano abavubuka ekika kyabwe. Waliwo abo banzaalibwa mu kibuga Stebon ne wabeerawo abazaalibwa mu kyalo. Abazaalibwa mu kyalo muzeeyi no baabanenya kubanga bazaalibwa balaba abantu abalala kye bakola era bagenda bavaayo bagenda bayiga. Naye ab'omu kibuga wano ayagala essira tuliteeke mu kibuga wano tuwongere okubakunga nabo babeere nga bakola ng'emyogo oba groups kubanga baawano ba Stebon mu ghetto Katanga. Abo tulina okuba secretariat yaffe NRM secretariat naffe abakulembeze tulina okubayamba bategeere enkyusaako mu bulamu bwabwe kye basobola okukola nga bakozesa opportunity oba omukisa oguzze president gwaleese ne NRM government okulaba nti bakola emyoga. Kakati oba baba bali mu boda waliwo group y'aba boda bwe baba bali mu mirimu emirala era emyoga gyateekateeka bulungi abantu abo basobola okufuna ssente ezibawonya okugenda mu kwewola mu bammane lenders. Kati ensonga ya muzeeyi ey'okubiri ebadde ku bugagga. Kakati okukola obugagga. Kati ensonga y'okusatu yanyikiza y'emirimu. Mutukunze tulimye emmere tugirimidde baani. Mutukunze tusomye n'amasomero mugataddewo naye bannange emirimu nga tetugiraba. Kati naatuwadde amagezi naddala abo abava mu zi university basomye science basomye byonna ebyo nti okulowooza nti gavumenti yegenda okuwa omulimu. Gavumenti erina emirimu tegiwera na $5,000. So nga ate bino byatubuulidde bw'obanga olina factory egatta omutindo kwekyo ekirimiddwa ogenda kukozesa abantu. tulabye wano babaguma ng'agamba nkozesa abantu nkaaga muntu buntu amu ali mu magi onaleo bya mukama minisita waffe ow'eggwanga ow'entambula ku yiikaze ennya naye atulaze nga naye ssebo employer ayina baawa emirimu nabo basobola okulabirira amaka gaabwe n'olwekyo okuteeka enninga ku pulezidenti oba gavumenti nti emirimu gijja kuweebwa gavumenti mu public service awo tuba twerimba naye embeera ennungi eteekeddwawo nereeta amakolero ng'era pulezidenti agatulaze ku screen tulabye eri ekapeeka bakola ebintu bino bye tukozesa mu kaabuyonjo kwe tutuula toilet seats n'ebirala bakola engatto bakola ebintu eby'amaanyi awo ekapeeka wano ebuyikwe erugazi aruwa eteso bano abakamula abakola teju omubisi ogwo gw'emicungwa era bonna bakozesa baana baffe abasomye n'olwekyo abo abazinga emikono oluusi ne babuzibwabuzibwa abalyolyomi ti gavumenti yerina okugabira abavubuka bonna abavudde mu universities zino ate gavumenti nga yezitaddewo olwa liberalization gye yaleeta bababuzaabuza emirimu mingi nnyo nnyo gisukka mu miliyoni emu egiweereddwa amakolero ago agali mu Uganda era nga tulaba nga n'ebiva mu makolero bye tutunda ebweru biweza obuwumbi bwa $2 nga 2.5 nga byo exports made in Uganda bikoleddwa mu Uganda so emirimu gyegyo president bw'akyogeddeko naye era agenze ku nsonga ey'okuna ng'eri abadde kumpi eddamu ensonga y'ebbula y'emirimu kubanga tujjukizza ekirooto kya mwalimu Julius Nyerere ekyokulaba nga tukola ensi zino ezitwetoolodde ebeerenga gurupu oba kabondo oba kiwayi ekyensi ezikolaganira awamu atulaze nti ebintu bye tukola kasooli gwe tulima tetumulya kumumalawo sementi gwe tukola tetumukozesa kumumalawo ebintu ebisinga bye tukola wano mu sukaali tetumunywa kumumalawo wano e Uganda n'olwekyo omugaso gw'okuba nti okolagana bulungi ne baliraano mu East Africa wano Kenya eno Rwanda eno Congo eno Tanzania eno Burundi eno Maserengeta ga Sudan ebintu bikolebwa wano e Uganda akatale keeko omugaso ogwo zino ensalosale ezitusazaamu ti eno Uganda eno Kenya kale weeziri naye tuli ffenna ffe beebamu ebimu ebiva e Kenya bijja e Uganda ebirala ebiva e Uganda akatale kali Kenya so ensonga ey'okuna eya president ebadde eyo eya regional integration oba okukolera awamu ensonga ey'okutaano president yayogeddeko yey'abanyuunyuusi abaana bongere okugyogerako n'okugitegeera baleme to be diverted other issues which are important, yes, but not as crucial as this one. Is the integration?
Yes, the issue of integration. The young people should study it and talk about it and push it.
Ensonga eno yatuleeterwa bajjajjaffe bataata baffe abo mu kifo ky'okulaba emipiira gya Europe Bungereza nawa ensonga eno abaana balina okugyetegereza kubanga egenda kututaasa tuba tuzimba okwegatta gemaanyi tuba tuzimba akatale naye tuba tuzimba n'okugaba n'ebikozesebwa n'okugaba n'ebyetaago n'okugaba n'amagezi universities ezimu ziri Kenya ziri Tanzania ziri Rwanda ICT universities bwe tuba nga tukolaganidde wamu ne tubitegeera ffenna era tugenda nakwekuumira wamu era tugenda nakulwanyisa abo.
When I get a bigger market for East Africa, I can sell more what I'm producing, and when I sell more, I expand my business. And when I expand my business, I create more jobs. So when you cannot talk of jobs without talking about integration.
Yes. Yes. Bwe negatta ne baliraanwa bange tuba tukoza akatale. Bwe tuba tukoza akatale ebintu by'ennima ennyo bye sisobola kutunda wano mba mbitunda eri. Naye ate tekiŋŋaana na kwongerako okukola ennyo kubanga akatale nkalengedde. Kati bwe nkola ennyo ate naawe mba nkuleetedde emirimu. Kubanga bye ntunda eri ebisinga situndayo bibisi. Ntundayo ebintu ebiyise mu factory. Kati factory ezo ba makolero ago ate ge gatuweera abaana baffe emirimu. N'olwekyo abazzukulu ensonga eno balina okubanga be bali ku mwanje ennyo okugiwagira kubanga ejja kuleeta akatale ate ejja kwongera ebintu bye tukola kitegeeza n'emirimu gibe nga gyeyongera. Ensonga endala ey'okutaano yabadde eya parasitism eyo obunyuunyunsi.
The ones who are unfair and we are working for them, they want to spoil.
Abanyuunyunsi mu bugenderere abalala nga si mu bugenderere. Eri abanyuunyunsi nga si mu bugenderere abo bambi balwawo okulaba omukisa nga guzze. Abalala bakola bo tebafuddeeyo kubanga abantu abo be batulaze ku screen tebali ku kizinga nti babeerako bokka, balina baliraanwa baabwe. Pulezidenti yatulaze baliraanwa be. Ye nga Ssaabakunzi yagenda mu maaso n'agamba sijja kwetooloolwa amaka agasukka mu 2,000 nga maavu, n'abakwatako engalo. Naye ate eriyo abatasobola kukyuka nga n'omukisa guzze. Abanyuunyunsi mu butali bugenderere. Naye ne wabeerawo abanyuunyunsi ate mu bugenderere nga tukola ba wealth creators oba abakolerera okutumbula ekyomunsawo, naye ate abalala nga bakolagana n'abatatwagala. Okufutyanka ebyo bye tukola, okugootaanya ebyo bye tuba tutaddewo, okubuzaabuza abaali badde bakwata ekisinde ekyokwegobako obwavu. Abo banyuunyunsi abagenderere abakigenderedde. Weteebereza nga beeyisinjiro balima emmere bagitulimira. Bo balima bafunyeemu bagireese mu Kampala, ffe abali mu Kampala naffe tufunyeemu kubanga emmere tugyagala. Omuntu n'akeera n'alowooza nti ajja kufutyanka ekyo, nti mu Kampala awali abantu abatunda ebintu byabwe ku mbalaza, gwe wootagetinga okujja okwekalakaasizaawo olw'ebibyo bye weenoonyeza. Ekyo nno kya bulabe era oba ozannya na muliro. Pulezidenti bw'agambye you are joking with fire. Oba ozannya na muliro. Obuvunaanyizibwa bw'alina nga pulezidenti kwe kutaasa abantu n'ebintu byabwe nga azze ababuulira enjiri ey'okkola ennyo batuuyana balembese ng'ojjenga okuba ssemukiti okyakalire mu Kampala ng'okukyakalako kwakwonoona. Waakiriko funayo olw'Essande, funayo olw'Essande ng'abantu batono, naye nga olukusa olufunye okuva ewaabo abateekateeka nga Meja Nakalema bwe yatuteekerateekerako lumu lwali lwa Ssande ne tutambula, tewali yakaaba nti ebinyeebwa bye babiridde. Omuntu weekalakaasa ogenda mu toninnyira kulya mmere y'abantu, weekalakaasa ogenda mu bbata kukuba ndabirwamu kubba ngatto, weekalakaasa ogenda mu maduuka ag'obusimu abo be banyuunyunsi abagenderere abatunyunyuta abagenderere nga tageti yaabwe kufuna kyamangu kasimu kabbye mu dduuka. N'olwekyo pulezidenti abo abalabudde n'abagamba ekyo tekijja kukkirizibwa okutabangula emirembe egyo egibadde gifuniddwa ng'abantu bakola. Omukisa ogwa buli muntu okukola weeguli. Tandika katono kubanga tubalabye wano ku TV. Mwami Matongo yatandika n'ente 50 ze yafuna ku busika bw'ebintu bya taata we. Kati ali mu nte esobola omuwa liita z'amata 9 buli lunaku era ng'afuna $2.1 mu mata gokka. Takubulidde ebirume byatunda, takubulidde birala. So tandika mpola, tandika n'akatono naye ng'owuliriza osobole n'okumanya ogwo omukisa ogutuweereddwa. Mukama wange President, emboozi ebadde empanvu nnyo ate ng'enyuma, naye nkimanyi nti obudde bugenze, naye nange njagala ntwala omukisa guno okwebaza olw'okutusomesa. Era bangi bayize, era bangi basomesezza. Wamenye mwami Sempijja e Masaka mu Mwanyi, n'omenya omugenzi Mathias Kasamba, abaabakirawo enteekateekayo ey'emmwanyi ne baleetera abantu b'e Masaka okulaba nga balina emmwanyi. N'abantu nga bya Mukama, naye nkimanyi muzeeyi ne baministers bo bangi enjiri bagikutte
nga nankabirwa
nga nankabirwa ekibogaawo alinawo model farm. Alina nasaro y'emmwanyi yawonya abantu b'ekibogo okugenda emukono. Alina n'ebisagazi bi Pokchong, Sugar Napier byasimbye ekiboga mu industrial area side.
Mu industrial area?
Yes. Okay. Ninayo 67 acres zentandise okukolako era nga n'emmere kati njikola n'engitereka. Gye tuli eyo n'abali wano kubanga lumu bakimanyi nti lumu ogenda kukyamako ewaabwe. Ate ekiseera kijja kutuuka bawummule, naye twagala bawummulire ku nnimiro nga bakola ate basomese n'abaana baabwe. Olw'okuba ebbanga ligenze muzeeyi mu bimpimpi nfunzizzaako bwe ntyo kansubire nti teriiyo ensonga enkulu gyendeseeyo.
No, I want to thank the Honorable Ruth Nankabirwa. She has summarized in our local language here, which is listened to by many people in the country, even the others who are not Luganda speakers, but they can understand it, the ones in the west, in the part of the east. Then I will ask my media team to work with the Teso radio and then the radio in Gulu, our radio there, and Rugubara and Karamojong, so that they translated them there, translate my speech. Thank you so much. God bless you.
God bless you too, Your Excellency.